Five Nights at Freddy's is actually based off of a real crime that took place in a Chuck E. Cheese in 1983. One night in 1983, right before close, a 19-year-old man snuck and hid into the bathroom until he knew the doors were locked. There were 5 staff members on that night, 1 manager that was in her office, 2 crew members that were in the kitchen cleaning, and 2 crew members that were in the party room cleaning. Once he knew the doors were locked, then he started his spree, where he walked into the party room unaliving those 2 staff members, then making his way into the kitchen to do the same. While all of this unfolded, the manager is watching this on the security cameras. Before she was able to do anything though, he was already in the office, forcing her to open the safe, then unaliving her as well. He was then apprehended by the police and sentenced to death, but his sentencing is still on hold to this day.
This couple ended up seeing each other in jail, and it's kind of funny, just watch.
Play sex! Alright, here we go. Next one, baby. You all.
This is a no swearing zone.
Shut up.
What's your first name?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? I need you to stand up.
Oh,
Stand up.
yes, ma'am.
Stand right
I'm
here.
standing.
Anything sharp on you? Any guns? Weapons?
Everything. I have it all. I'm
Okay.
going to murder you.
Anything underneath the hair?
Everything. I need a lawyer
Okay.
right now. Does anyone know?
All right.
Can I explain something to you?
Don't you ever explain anything to me.
Can I ask you questions?
Never.
Why not?
Use a medical?
I'm refusing everything. Shut the up. You too.
Hand. Do you know
And
him?
you know something?
Is there a
You're a
scar?
jerk. You.
Yeah. Take it to the court.
We are
Do
going
you think she's gonna make it?
Are you going to marry me now? I'll marry you whenever I get out of my struts. If we get out of our struts together, maybe we can get together. I'll give you a kiss before I leave. Oh, don't you want to kiss me while I was wrapped up? I ain't gonna make you happy, bitch, because you know why? I ain't happy myself, alright? That's the way it is. Oh, well.
She was really asking him if he was gonna marry her yet, but they did have a pretty real conversation.
There was one question that this man, Jason Crawford, wouldn't answer when he called 911 to say, my wife's been shot outside of our home in Coleman, Alabama. Just one question. And I bet it's the same question you would ask. Who shot her? The dispatcher asked that 3 times, but Jason Crawford never responded. Now, there's no physical evidence directly pointing to the fact that Jason shot her. No fingerprints, no DNA, nothing. In fact, Jason says, look at her journal entries dated the day she died. She was writing about how she was struggling to hold it together because she and Jason were dealing with some drama in their personal life. You're going to hear from a juror on the case against Jason. State of Alabama versus Jason Crawford. That juror is going to take you into the deliberation room and she's going to tell you how they asked to hear that 911 call again. After the trial, they wanted to go over the 911 call one more time, and listening back to it, and it's not very long, they heard one thing different than what I just told you. One thing that when they heard it back again, they were like, ah! In fact, the juror slammed her hand on the table and said, that's it. And at that point, the jury walked out with a verdict. You'll see it all Saturday night on CBS, 48 Hours, also streaming on Paramount+.
If your name's Jessica and you live in northern Colorado, I need you to check your voicemail right away because I have your checkbook. My wife thinks we're having an affair and I don't know how to fix it.
So I'm scrolling TikTok late night, come across a video where the algorithm is getting way too close to home. My name's Jessica. I live in northern Colorado. I never answer my phone. I never listen to voicemails. I very rarely respond to text messages. So I'm watching this last night, laughing, and then I decide, hey, let's go ahead and check my voicemail. So I checked my voicemail, and sure enough, here this is.
This is kind of strange, but I was cleaning out my car with my husband and came across a checkbook with your name on it. And I'm not quite sure what's in my car, and I'd like to return it to you if it's yours. So if you could give me a call back.
So after listening to that, I immediately thought I was hallucinating on my weed gummy. And after listening to it a few more times, realized that it was real. So we stayed up way too late, spent countless hours laughing hysterically at all of the comments, thinking about all the ways that we could fan the flames of this amazing situation that we found ourselves in, wreak absolute havoc on both of our relationships. Then realized that you're sitting with the upper hand. You can very easily sell my information on the dark web, write some checks. So let's get this figured out. All right, so we have an update while I was filming this. We have been in touch, found out that our kids go to the same elementary school. We still don't know how the checkbook got into the car. We're gonna meet up later today so I can get my checkbook back and hopefully try to figure out what happened. Thanks, guys.
This paramedic unknowingly treated her own 17-year-old daughter after a horrific car accident left her unrecognizable. At around 4:30 p.m. on November 15th of last year, paramedic Jamie Erickson was called to the scene of a crash just north of Calgary. A car lost control on an icy stretch of road and was hit by an oncoming truck. The driver of the car was injured but able to get out, but sadly, the girl in the passenger seat was trapped inside with serious injuries. They were so horrific that she was unrecognizable. Jamie was the first one on scene and was able to get inside of the car and treat and comfort the girl until she was extricated. The girl was then airlifted to a hospital where she sadly later died of her injuries. Upon leaving the scene, Jamie expressed her sadness to her partner that it was likely that someone would be losing their daughter due to the girl's injuries. At this point, Jamie's shift was over and she headed home, but once there, she was greeted by the RCMP. And unfortunately, they told her that the unrecognizable girl in the crash was actually her 17-year-old daughter, Montana. That day, Montana was coming home from a dog walk with one of her friends when the crash occurred. Montana was Jamie's only child, and she was described as a firecracker who was really successful at everything she did. She loved swimming and wanted to be a lawyer when she grew up. According to Jamie, Montana was able to give one final gift, which was organ donation, and because of that, she saved the lives of 2 people. I've attached the GoFundMe for the Erickson family in my bio. The family has served as advanced care paramedics for nearly 30 years, so I think it's the least we can do to either share or donate to the GoFundMe to give them the time to heal and recover from this horrible loss.
You remember saying to yourself, I got a feeling there's more to this story.
Oh, yes, definitely.
911, where's your emergency?
I need someone to come out here to my house.
Tell me exactly what's going on.
My wife is being shot. She's in her van.
I think the thing that made me think that there could be something else going on with this case is that gunshot wound on the left side of Miss Crawford's head. That's indicating that, she's holding her arm outward beyond 10 inches and trying to shoot herself. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it's not likely.
Where's the gun, sir? It's right here in her hand.
That was concerning to me because, for you to be able to hold up a gun and shoot yourself in the head, it would be difficult to do in such a small space.
She didn't have a contact wound here, and she didn't have a contact wound here.
Correct.
Most suicides involve the barrel or the tip of the gun being placed on the skin.
Yeah, you said most, not all.
Do you believe she would take her own life?
No. I had just talked to her. I do not believe that.
When we learned that she had shot herself twice with her non-dominant hand, we were fairly certain that there's no way.
Now I got tagged in this video, so I'm here to explain who this is exactly. The man you see on screen is named Dennis Nilsen. He was born in Scotland, November 23rd, 1945. Now as a kid, he had a pretty rough childhood. His parents would constantly argue and his father never spent time with him. Eventually, his parents both divorced and his mother ended up marrying somebody who Dennis didn't like. The only person he would really connect with was his grandfather. Now his grandfather was a fisherman, so he would go next to the ocean to go wait for his father for hours just so he could spend time with him. This all sadly came to an end when his grandfather suffered a heart attack and died. At this point, Dennis had no closure and he had lost the only person that he really connected with. As Dennis got older, he started having sexual desires much like any other kid. However, he thought that he was a homosexual. This was because he found his other friends attractive. This also led to him molesting his older brother while he slept. Eventually, Dennis would join the military for a total of 11 years, and this is where he started his desires to kill people. While in the military, he became a very heavy drinker, and he would also fantasize of his friends taking advantage of him while he was drunk. He would pretend he was drunk and actually try to get his friends to take advantage of him. These fantasies then turned into him taking advantage of his friends while they were drunk or dead. In 1972, he cut off communication with his whole family. This was because it came to light that he was a homosexual, and his older brother exposed him of being a homosexual and what he did to him in his sleep. This made Dennis really lonely, and he tried seeking for a relationship with other men, but this failed. In 1973, he took up a job as a security guard, and he would keep this job up until his arrest. Dennis would spend most of his time heavily drinking in clubs and going to gay bars for men. In 1978, that's when he started his killing spree. He would lure gay men to his apartment, promising them more alcohol and or drugs. A number of men actually went with him, and about 15 didn't make it out. He would choke his victims either with his bare hands or with a cable. Other times he would drug his victims and then take advantage of their bodies by bathing them and then performing sexual acts with it. He would then dissect the bodies, dismember them, and then hide them under his floorboards. He would also boil the bodies until the skin fell off and he was just left with a big pot of watery skin and muscle. This substance would then be flushed down the toilet. Another way he would dispose of the bodies is that he would light a bonfire late at night, and that's where he would burn the bodies to dispose of the evidence. There was also times where Dennis's victims would almost get away from him. A man with epilepsy actually stumbled out of his apartment and collapsed in front of Dennis's building. Dennis then told him that his medication made his legs wobbly, and then he took the man to his apartment. Now, instead of drugging him, killing him, and strangling him, he called an ambulance for the guy. Soon the guy got better and went back to Dennis's apartment to thank him. Dennis invited him in and then strangled him and killed him. Pretty soon the residents in his building would notice a severe issue with the plumbage, so they called the state agent to investigate what was causing the clog in the drains. Funny enough, Dennis was the person who called the agency. They found out that human remains were clogging every single drain. I'm talking clunks of hair, skin, rotten flesh. It smelled nasty, and this eventually led up to Dennis Nilsen's arrest in 1983. He confessed to over 15 murders and he was sentenced to life in prison. He died on May 12, 2018 at the age of 72. Like and follow for more.
What's up, y'all? I'm back with another banger, back with another video. This is such a sad story, y'all. Honestly, this story broke my heart. Listening to it, looking at it, it could have been avoided. This man lost his life for no reason. This is Jeremy and Khadijah Brown. They're both married. Yesterday on Facebook, Khadijah made a post around about 8:30 something that morning saying that Jeremy was bisexual. Then about an hour later, y'all, she goes live on Facebook, her and her mom basically talking shit about Jeremy. I got the video. Let me show y'all.
Yeah, people want to have something to say, but he ain't here with his kids. He ain't helping. He left at 6:00. He left at 6:06 to go be with his mama. Instead of trying to.
So that was a video basically of her and her mama basically talking shit about Jeremy. Now, y'all, the crazy part about this is this whole time he is there at the house while they talking shit about him. And also their kids are around. So not only are they talking shit about him, but they are degrading him in front of his kids and in front of his face, which is sad as fuck. She basically goes on to start arguing with Jeremy about not cooking the kids breakfast. Saying how he don't do this and how he don't do that. But you on Facebook Live. If you can get on live, you can cook breakfast for your kids. I don't see what's the big deal or why you trying to start with him. Then y'all on the live, she starts to put her hands on him. They start to go back and forth. He really tells her that he's not trying to go back and forth with her and that he's just trying to leave. She refuses to let him leave. He tells her again to keep her hands off of him, and I guess he swiped her hand or pushed her or something. He also was on the phone with a family member or a friend so that they can be a witness to what was going on. Y'all, she starts to act big and bad. Of course, her mom is in the background, hyping her up. Now, y'all, I will tell y'all that this next clip that I'm about to post is very, very sensitive.
What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on him.
What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on him. Don't touch me, bro.
What's the conversation?
Move, bro. I'm trying to get ready for work, man. Go on.
How you getting ready for work? What?
So, as y'all can see in that clip, he's clearly trying to not be confrontational with her at all, and she's consistently starting with him. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all this part. Later on in the video, she starts to tell him, oh, I'll beat your ass, I'll do all these things to you, and threaten him. She then goes and gets a gun and starts to yell out, murder scene, her exact words, y'all. I'm going to post a clip of that part, but I don't know how much more of it is going to let me post. Y'all, this is sensitive content. If you cannot view it, just keep strolling. Please do not report my video. So as y'all can hear in that clip, she basically continued to put her hands on him, and she went and got a gun and basically threatened his life and was making real big ass threats in the video on live. I know this video long, but y'all stay with me. In the next 45-50 seconds, you will hear in the video that the gun goes off. This is sensitive content, guys. Please listen. That part of the video was so hard for me. But as y'all can hear, they screaming in the background, the mama screaming. All of a sudden, now you want peace and y'all need to stop this. But you was just instigating this in the background. Now, Jeremy done lost his life over something stupid. And now Khadijah talking about it was an accident. How was it was an accident when you were saying, oh, I'm finna kill you, bitch. Murder scene, excuse my language. Don't ban my video TikTok. But, yeah, all of this could have been avoided. I just want to know, do y'all think she going to go to jail? She going to get charged? Do y'all think that they're going to cut her some slack because they feel like it was an accident? I don't think that it was an accident. And honestly, I feel like She need to get everything that she deserves. He even told the kids before all of this happened that he loved them. Y'all, after that part of the video, the kids was like, my daddy, my daddy. They seen him laying lifeless in a pool of blood. In front of the kids, dog. That's just crazy. This whole story was just so sad.